Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Apex Formula One podcast. I am so excited to be back. It's been a long time. It feels like a long time anyway. I was in Europe. For those who did not know, now you know. I, of course, was watching the Formula One and keeping up as much as I could with all the ongoing topics. What a wild beginning of the year. I'm so glad to be here to talk about it. I'm joined here with my friends, Paul and Meredith. Paul, how are you doing this morning, bud?
Good. How are you today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Meredith, how about you? How you doing?
Doing great. We're happy to have you back. It felt so weird talking about racing without you. I mean, we were so happy to have Hannah on, but it just felt weird recapping and missing our third leg of our trio here. So happy to have you back, but I'm glad you had a good trip.
Yeah, had a great trip. I'll save some of my stuff since we have now, we'll get into it, a larger gap than we were expecting in the spring for Formula One here. So I will save my experience not only at the F1 arcade for a watch party, but also the Silverstone experience and museum that I did. So I will save those for a rainy day to fill a gap that we didn't expect. But we will begin with the Formula One. Last week, we had the Chinese Grand Prix, which turned out to be quite a banger. I dare say that, to be completely honest, that might be my favorite Formula One race that I've ever watched. And I'm being very serious when I say that. So I enjoyed it significantly. So what were your guys' initial takes on the last Chinese Grand Prix?
I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch it. I heard it on the radio.
You didn't watch it at all? Have you watched it yet?
I didn't watch it. No, I have not seen an ounce of it. I listened to it on the radio, so I know what happened. But I was headed home from Wisconsin in the middle of the night. It was 2 a.m, and it happened to be on Sirius XM radio. So I said, screw it. Listen to it. So
I was going to ask how you were listening because I was I listen to NFL games when we drive back from Lubbock. I listen to NFL games on Sirius. So I was wondering where you were listening to the race at 2 a.m. while driving back from Wisconsin.
So legitimately, I've not seen an ounce of it with my own eyes. I know what happens.
You do know that we do a Formula One show here, right? That we are watching
but I thought it was
and talking about.
Well, either way, so I enjoy listening to sporting events on the radio, like baseball. So cool to listen to on the radio. So I figured, why not give F1 a try? And honestly, wasn't that bad at all. I don't know who the commentators are. I don't know their names or anything, but they did a great job of really, really painting a good picture of what's going on.
Was it? I'm sure it was BBC Radio, wasn't it? Had to have been.
Something like that. I know they have a podcast too. They kept plugging in. So listen, I enjoyed it. If I'm ever in the car, Sirius XM, we're listening to it.
All right.
I prefer you not be in the car at 2:30 in the morning anymore, driving back from Wisconsin, trying to outrace a snowstorm just for safety.
Hey, listen, you got to do what you got to do.
All right. Well, Mayor, what was your thoughts?
I absolutely loved it. So what we did is we made a no phones rule when we got up Sunday morning, because when we woke up on Saturday morning, the sprint results were spoiled. It's just habit. You wake up and you look at your phone and you're like, shit, no. So Saturday night, we were all diehard. I was like, no phones. Don't open social media. We're going to wake up, walk out into the living room, and we're going to have it queued up, ready to watch. And so it was actually really fun, not knowing anything, not touching our phones or anything. I thought, I'm with you, Josh. I thought it was absolutely an amazing race. Given testing, it's kind of like Australia. Paul and I talked about how we did not expect such good wheel-to-wheel racing, and that's what we've been asking for and begging for, and I did not think it was going to get delivered with the 2026 regulations and these new cars the way that we were seeing them in preseason testing. So I thought it was absolutely amazing. I'm so excited for Kimi with his maiden win. That is just incredible. And to convert from a pole to a win, I feel like that makes it even sweeter. So yeah, I thought it was absolutely awesome. A lot of really, really incredible battles on track, and it just made me super, super pumped. And I feel like if we're already seeing Ferrari and Mercedes battle this much at the beginning of the season, when they're not used to the cars, I feel like we're only going to continue to see more incredible wheel-to-wheel racing throughout the whole season. So I'm extremely excited for it.
Yeah, I think that was my initial takeaway as well. Over the last 2 races, I was very impressed with the ability of the cars to stay close together for battles beyond 1 or 2 corners, right? That was kind of the hallmark of the previous iteration of the car. The previous regulation was overtakes were basically a DRS opportunity into a braking zone, and it was really a maybe 1-2 corner battle, and that was really it. So to see these cars go wheel to wheel for almost entire laps with overtaking multiple times during the lap. Like, yes, we'll get into some of the critiques and concerns with the regulations, but at face value, I am impressed with the car's ability to follow, and I think that was the biggest change from this regulation cycle, as far as the actual wheel-to-wheel battling. I was so impressed with the Ferrari and Mercedes battles. Apparently,
Everything
that was
okay over there, Paul?
So the house is falling apart over there.
Is that Yuki in the background causing a ruckus?
All right, but I was so impressed with that battle, and like you said, Kimi converted from pole, but it was not an easy road, right? He was overtaken on the first lap, had to kind of battle back. You know, that's what you could ask for. He didn't just run away with it. It wasn't a situation where he was 30 seconds ahead and just gone. I loved the budding battle now between George and Kimi, because you could tell George was a little miffed on the podium that he wasn't standing up
A
there.
little?
Yeah, I was being generous. He was extremely
Do you
upset
see
that he
that
was.
picture?
Which one?
The one that somebody, and it, maybe it was just like a terrible freeze frame, but he's like, I'll send it to you guys on Instagram.
I don't know if I saw that one, but it's
I'll send it.
pretty obvious that two of them may actually, I mean, they're in equal machinery, and that car looks quick, right? And the pressure between the two of them may give us a good battle as we start to come down to, get more settled into the season. And then if the Ferrari can improve its pace even a slight bit, they could be contending for these race wins as well. So a lot to look forward to at the front of the grid. The middle of the grid looks, we got Ollie Behrman is absolutely killing it right now. Haas is looking strong. Alpine looks strong, which is like, can't believe I'm saying that. Franco Colapinto had a great race. I just love seeing some of these guys that struggled so much over the last several years putting in a fight and having a good battle, and making moves and actually showing the pace of their cars. It's unfortunate to see the situation at Red Bull with Verstappen struggling. It sounds like the rumors are that car is significantly overweight and struggling with their battery deployment. I'm sure they'll figure it out. It's also a brand new powertrain for them, so Ford will obviously get things going at some point. But
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, when I look at where it's only been 2 races, granted, but when I look at the way that the more rookie drivers are performing, I almost wonder, is it an advantage for them being newer because they didn't have years and years of other regulations to have, like, this is my comfort zone, this is what it should feel like? Do we feel like the drivers, like, like looking at Ollie and even like Liam and Isaac and Franco, and even Arvid, like, really strong, a couple slip ups here and there that, he spun out, lost a lot of pace on the beginning, but if that hadn't happened, like, it just makes me wonder if because they haven't been driving in F1 as long, and maybe because they weren't as used to a certain type of car, if it makes it easier for them to adapt and learn because they don't have, 6 seasons, 8 seasons, 10 seasons or whatever of history of them feeling like a car should feel that way. Like, if it makes them be a little bit more adaptable and open to this regulation of car because they're still new and everything still feels kind of green to them. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
Yeah, it looks like, these guys were used to. Okay, bye, Paul. It looks like these guys were used to driving the F3 cars, F2 cars, and now the F1 car. The regulation now much more similar to the F2 style of driving, right? With that closer wheel-to-wheel battles and the ability to kind of fight throughout an entire lap as opposed to just 1 or 2 overtakes. So I think that may be why we see the younger guys doing much better here, is they're so much more familiar with a style of driving that is more reminiscent of the current iteration of car. I think that's why we see Lewis doing very well. He was extremely successful. Now, this has been years ago now that the regulations were similar, but we saw him dominate with regulations in the past that were more power unit specific as opposed to aero specific. So I think that's why we see some drivers excelling, where maybe we see some other drivers really struggle with this car that they've been so used to driving over the last 5 years that they have to relearn this new style. So I do think that there's something to that. That's why I think we saw so much struggling from the rookies last year, and why they seem so much more settled this year, because the car is much friendlier to them, I think.
Sorry, they're working on my dryer right now, so I was trying not to be rude, and then I moved over here. I didn't want the camera to see that. So I'm in my room now, propped up, standing up. So thank you for bearing
Standing
with me.
podcast.
Standing.
He's going to stand and deliver his podcast today.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a tour of the room.
It's a door.
Guys, welcome to my crib.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How about Lewis and Charles? They just genuinely seem like they're having so much fun. And even after the race, Lewis immediately went over to Charles and Charles took his helmet off and they were smiling and hugging and high-fiving. Like the competition is there. It's so clear. It was such good, clean battling. On some of the radios, of course, they're like, guys, come on, like I've got the pace, let me go. But they let him battle it out. I'm really glad Fred is letting them battle it out, but not in a papaya rules way. But it genuinely seems like both of them feel really good in the car. They both feel like it's fun again, which I think we've had a few Ferrari seasons where it didn't necessarily feel fun. And I think I'm just really enjoying them. Both enjoy it. And it's clear that there's so much respect between the two of them for them to battle like that for the entire race. And then to finish that race and Lewis and Charles immediately be like high-fiving and hugging and like both be super positive. I love that. Makes my little Tifosi heart happy.
As I was listening to it on the radio, I was a little concerned that there was going to be bad blood because of all the wheel-to-wheel racing that was going on between both teammates, because you would see it, right? If it was a Max going to toe-to-toe with someone else, or maybe a George going toe-to-toe with someone else, there would be bad blood. But the fact that both of these guys were like, that was freaking amazing, let's do that again, this is what racing is, that it was so genuine, and it really showed that they're, I don't know if the real love for F1 is there, but they're it's just there. That passion for racing is there, and even the team is like Fred is going and saying, "No, we're going to let them do their thing. They're keeping it clean, they're keeping it safe, and they're just giving the fans what they want." And I think for the last handful of years, that's what we as fans have been asking for. So it was so cool to see that or hear it. Kudos to them. I'm glad they're keeping it clean. I'm glad there's no bad blood there.
Yeah, when's the last time we saw Lewis happy after getting out of a car? It's been a while.
Been a minute.
It's been a minute. So to see him
Been a minute.
so, yes, he got a podium, right? Like, right, he's got his first podium in a Ferrari. Like, of course he's gonna be excited. Kimi is on his top step. Like, of course, Lewis is so proud of him, having kind of mentored him. So obviously Lewis is gonna be happy. But to hear Charles get on the radio and say, like, man, this is really fun. Like, that's telling to me. Like, in the heat of the moment, they're battling for position, they're battling for high points, they're pushing the car as hard as they can. To come on the radio in that moment and be like, you know what, this is actually really fun. That gives me a lot of hope for this regulation cycle, because obviously there's going to be growing pains here in the beginning, but I think that there's enough evidence of a good solid foundation that I think we have a lot to look forward to. And the fact that the drivers are now starting to say that gives me even more hope. So I'm very happy to see that people are enjoying it. The drivers are enjoying it more. Maybe not at Aston Martin, but some of the drivers are really enjoying it.
Not enjoying it.
Well, they're not allowed to. They can't have an opinion because they didn't get to go on the track.
Oscar hasn't even raced in 2026.
He's got points. He raced in a sprint race, kind of.
He's been on a track that just haven't
it's
raced.
It's like a warm-up lap.
It don't matter. He got a point.
Like, he's seen a track. I'm just saying, like, that is.
Yeah, fall from grace.
That was a tough nut to swallow, because I woke up, I had no idea, when I woke up on Sunday and I'm like, we sit down on the couch, we all got our coffee, face masks on, we're ready. And I'm like, what the fuck?
So what? I gotta ask this, and I don't know if you guys addressed it earlier, and if you did, that's my apologies. What are your thoughts so far 2 races into the new regulations? Do you think it's taken away from the purity of racing with everything the drivers have to think about and do? Or is that just where the sport is going and we just have to adjust as we go? Because you hear things like coming from Max and how unhappy it is. Side note, this is why you never buy a Ford, because it always breaks down, always go Chevy. And, so I'm just trying to figure out where my feelings lie on it, right? Because on one hand, I'm excited that we're getting wheel-to-wheel racing again. On the other hand, it's like, are we becoming too Formula-ish with batteries and all these things we have to worry about? So it's like, do I have to adjust the way I think? What do you guys think about this whole thing?
So every time that we have an innovation in Formula One, people bitch incessantly. I don't know if you have watched enough of the archived stuff. I've gone back and watched through 2005, right? When KERS came out, which is actually quite similar to what we have now. It was a system called KERS. It was kind of the beginning of the battery in the car. It was regenerative. It was like push to pass, right? People hated that system. hated it. And they said the same thing. All it does is just push the pass, blah, blah, blah. Then we had DRS, right? And people said the same thing. Oh, all you have to do is hit a button and you drive right by somebody. And it's going to kill racing. It's where's the fun in overtaking? There's several videos now on TikTok over the last couple of days that have compared comments from the beginning of the DRS era to now. So similar.
Interesting.
It's so similar. And it's just one of those things where Paul, you'll know this. It's a saying with firemen that firemen hate two things: the way things are and change. So
I feel like that's everybody.
it's everybody, right? But it's like, it's the old sayings. So I think that, yes, people hated the way it was, but now they're going to find ways to complain about this. I don't think that this takes away anything from the driving, right? It's just another component to the car that must be learned and mastered to be successful, just like every other development we've had in Formula One. And remember, Formula One as a series has always been there to push the boundaries of what manufacturing can be for a road car. A lot of the things that we've seen with hybrid power and these alternating between regenerative braking and some of these other technologies we see in road cars today were created in Formula One paddocks. So this is just another step in the technology direction that the world is going with this electric power. Yes, if you want to compare it to Formula E, sure, the car is more electric powered than it was. I do not think that that takes away from the racing or the purity of the sport. The sport has always been there to push boundaries. And you can look back from the 70s, 80s, 90s, there's always been a team that has pushed a limit and done something different. And it was complained about, taken away, or everybody just got on board and started doing it too. So I don't think it takes away from it. And as long as the drivers are enjoying it and we're getting an hour and a half on a Sunday where we can sit down and just absolutely be on the edge of your seat for the full totality of the race, who cares what the car does?
Agreed. I also think that with Formula One having such strong aspirations to be net zero by 2030, that's not that far off, And when you think about what it takes to change an entire industry to make it net zero carbon emissions, that is a massive change. And so we knew that this regulation cycle was going to have a massive impact and be a giant leap towards that, because I don't know that I forecast before 2030 another massive regulation change to the extent that it's like a whole massive step up. And I think that the regulation changes this year and the change to incorporate more of that regenerative power in the braking, that was a huge step towards this. And the reality is that every single organization, every single large business in this world has to have net zero goals. That is the world we're in. And it's just like that. It's not even the political climate. Like, organizations have these goals and they have to. And most organizations are trying to be ahead of the legislation that is coming. And so even when I think about my own industry being in manufacturing, we have net zero emission goals as well. And all of the things that we have to start taking now, like what we're trying to do as a company, as a paper manufacturing company, is be 2 to 3 steps ahead of where legislation is. Because so far, I mean, I've only been here 6 years, but so far, every single thing that our company has anticipated, hey, we should be ahead of this, has then followed in legislation in different states. That's only going to continue to happen globally as we become more aware of climate change and what is actually happening in the planet. Formula One, to continue to be a sustainable, viable option with the updates to legislation that will eventually come, they have to make these step changes. Was this a really big one that's a massive behavior change? Absolutely. Does it take away from racing to me? Absolutely not. There are always going to be racing purists, but the reality is this is where the world and the climate is headed. And if Formula One doesn't get on board with it, there ultimately could be the end of Formula One if the legislation went to a direction in which Formula One was not compliant with that. So I think they're smart to make the big step change now, make the minor changes over the next few years to ultimately have that net zero goal achieved and it continue to be good racing and entertainment.
That's fair.
Those are my thoughts. Any other thoughts on China?
No. For the record, it's Kimi Antonelli. Did you guys see that video?
Kimi Räikkönen's fine.
What, like the video about him crying?
No,
on his
the
podium?
the announcer.
The
on the
video of
podium.
him coming to the podium and the announcer said Kimi Räikkönen.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because then, like, did y'all see all
He
the
was
memes
like,
of like
"What?"
Kimi Räikkönen figuring out he won the 2026 Chinese Grand Prix? And he's like, I was like, yeah.
No.
How do we feel like that combo went with Flavio and Pierre and Franco after that race? Do you think they got like a scratch on the head and like, you're a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Oh yeah, because they were already hugging. They were already like doing that crap before after qualifying. I saw Flav was hugging all over Franco, which I'm glad Franco's doing well. Like, to see him doing well is completely contrary to. He's not the worst driver on the grid right now. I don't think, personally. So I think that where people may have thought that he only had a few races to secure a spot at Alpine before, the next man up mentality kind of showed up. I think he's solidified that spot for at least through the summer break, unless he just has a complete disaster class. But I don't think that he's on the chopping block at this point.
Yep, I don't either. Any point is valuable for Alpine, and this
God.
was
What
this
a
was
what
a
a
huge proof
turnaround.
point.
Yeah, what a turnaround
Yeah.
for them here.
Yeah. There's so
What
much I want
about
to say about Flavio, but you guys haven't seen Drive to Survive, so I'm gonna hold all my opinions for later. But
No, I have seen that episode. So, quick question. What's up at Williams? I mean, I know Carlos got a point. Like I was at the end there, I was like, please, Carlos, please just secure a point here. Please stay in the points. Do not let something happen. Even though I needed Arvid to get up in the points for my shocker prediction to be true, I was like, please, Carlos. But I didn't even ever hear what happened with Alex Albon's car. Like, why was he not able to start the race? What happened?
I think it all boils
Hydraulics?
down to the same issues everyone's having:
No, there
electrical
was
issues, trying to figure out the car.
one of them had a massive hydraulic issue, and I cannot remember if it was him or if it was the Audi. I'll look.
Yeah, I don't know. But I was like, we're starting the race and we're like, wait, why? We were like, wait, where's Alex? And then we were like, wait, where's the McLarens? Like, what? So I didn't ever even hear what happened with Alex's car.
Yeah,
but I really hate that for
hydraulic
him, so.
issues force him to abandon.
Did you see the video of Fernando waving at Checo as he got passed?
Which is so on brand.
But did you see the video of the steering wheel? There is
Yeah,
so
he
much
had to let go, and he's like
vibration.
flexing his fingers.
It
Yeah,
is.
he's like, you can tell it
it's
hurts.
bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. Like to the point where I could see him
It's
walking away from that.
No
it's
doubt.
bad.
Well, and it's like, I'm sorry, but it's like DNF again. And it's like, at what point do you go, this is actually causing me physical harm to my body? We're not even finishing races. Like, this isn't worth
Yeah,
it.
but
If I
it's
were
the only
Alonso, I'd be like,
opportunity.
I'm out.
It's the only opportunity for them to collect data. They have to.
Yeah. When they send him back out, I'm like, oh no. That's at that point, you're just like, Lord,
Although,
no.
I could see him just stepping out for a race and just, not quitting, but like, hey, you know what? We're not doing anything anyway. Why not let Dragovich come in here and do something?
Yeah. Agreed.
Just get him some
Yeah.
experience. Like
Let him get some experience.
basically just be a test driver, but during a Grand Prix, it's no big deal. It would
Yeah.
actually help them
Well, and
out.
especially given that, Alonso is going to eventually retire.
Yeah, next 2
And
years.
Aston Martin's going to have to fill a seat. So it's like, what is there to lose? Alonso's not winning a world title this year, so it's like, what does he have to lose? Like, let Dragovich step up, get some practice with the pressure in a situation, let him race a weekend, especially if it's like hurting his hands and his nerves that much. I wouldn't blame him.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm super happy that Kimi won his first race. Just that emotion, him crying, just hearing Toto, his dad there. Man,
And when I said
Makes me
earlier
so
that I think that was my favorite race that I've watched. I think just how wholesome the damn end of the race was with Kimi and Lewis and George, and I mean, having Peter up there, like.
did we get tinges of George's jealousy? And I don't know if you guys talked about it at the beginning of the episode or not. Did it feel like George was jealous of this moment?
He absolutely is.
Not necessarily
He
the moment, but
absolutely is.
the win. Because George,
The win, yeah.
he doesn't want to take away from Kimi's first win. Obviously, that's selfish. I don't think he particularly has that mindset. But I think he also thinks that world championship is squarely his. I don't think there's a doubt in his mind that he is the sole proprietor of the championship at the end of this year. So to see someone else
I will
win.
say he also had more issues with his car this weekend, though. That like throughout the weekend he reported multiple issues, and Kimi didn't have issues with his car that were reported throughout the weekend. So I think maybe there's a little bit of that helps kind of quell that voice of like, oh no, Kimi, are we about to have a McLaren 2025 situation where it's us two battling for the world title? But then like George kind of like thought he had this in the bag, and now here's Kimi showing up. But then maybe in the back of his mind, he's going, okay, well, my car had some issues this weekend and Kimi's didn't. So maybe that gives him some peace of mind. But I don't know. They all seems to be good in that camp because they all flew back together. Did y'all see that photo of them all on the plane together?
Not all.
Lewis,
Kimi wasn't on that one.
George. It was Lewis, George, Susie, Toto, Kimi.
No, I don't think Kimi
No, it
was on
wasn't.
that flight.
Sorry, not Kimi.
Valtteri.
Who else? There was a fifth person in there.
Well,
I don't know, but like seeing George and Lewis and Toto and all them like flying together, I was like, okay, all is good. Like I'm sure Toto's going to have to stroke George's ego a little bit more this season than maybe he has, especially if Kimi's performing well. Bottas, thank you. Yes. I was like, there was somebody else in it. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Paul, I got to ask you a question, bud.
let's do it. Ask away. Ask away.
What is your boy Sergio doing? Because now I'm almost wondering if the second seat curse is just him kind of sucking.
What do you mean? What is he
He
doing?
can't even drive 3 corners without running into somebody, and I used to kind of be like, "Oh, it's just, it's just Liam Lawson. I'm Liam Lawson." No, I kind of wonder if it's just Sergio just not I don't know what he's doing, man. That's 2 races now where he's run into somebody in a pretty egregious manner.
I'm just gonna go with the fact that he's getting adapted to this new car because that Cadillac does not seem very
Well,
strong.
sure, I could go give it that, but running into people is not acclimate.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because that's still my boy. But it's not looking great.
No, it's not.
It's not. But I also think about the fact that they're at the biggest disadvantage of anyone on the grid. They're a completely new team. So I don't, like we've said, like keep the bar low, right? We had low expectations, but I really do hope that Cadillac can make some steps forward. I mean, like I don't remember it was Bottas or Checo's car, like the entire side cover was blown
Yeah,
off at
it's
one point. So like
Checo.
I anticipate a very, very rough first start to the season for them, and then maybe them getting some things dialed in over summer break. I don't know. But I mean, what better drivers than 2 very, very experienced drivers in Checo and Bottas to have in those seats to be able to give the feedback that would be needed to make that car improve? I still think they made the right choice with the driver lineup, and I think it's just hopefully a matter of time for them to figure it out in how to make those cars work.
But also speaks volumes to the hard work they've done. I mean, look, Aston Martin hasn't even been able to finish a race, and seemingly they're printing money out. And yet, this team that started from nothing, one car finished in Australia. Now, both cars, granted, they're not getting the results that they've wanted, but they're still finishing, and they're not having massive nerve damage caused to their drivers. So, kudos to them for their hard work.
We'll see. Only time will tell. I feel like the team that I like, not the biggest letdown, like not a letdown. They're doing fine. Like Audi. Like I feel like I thought Audi was going to be a louder voice in the conversation. And again, we're only 2 race weekends in, but I feel like I thought Audi, like in my mind, we were going to be talking a lot about Audi and Cadillac. And
I mean, I
I
think
thought Mercedes was going to run away with it. And so again, it's not like anything wrong has happened or like they're not doing well. I mean, they are. I didn't anticipate us talking so much about Ferrari and Mercedes and how exciting that is. And even for Haas and Alpine. So again, only 2 race weekends in, but I've thought it was very interesting to just see
let's
how
see.
little there is in the updates about Audi.
So it's Audi has got points first race, just barely
Mhm.
missed out with Hulkenberg on the
Just
just
barely
barely,
missed
and
out.
Bortoleto didn't have an opportunity, but he did get into Q3.
Yeah, and I don't know
You
what
know,
happened with Gabby's car and why he couldn't start.
he got into Q3, right? Nope, he got into Q2, did not, just missed out. But dang, did I? I'm sorry, I'm trying to look all this on the fly because I thought they had a Q. Yes, Bortoleto got into Q3 in Australia, but remember his car died coming back in from the second qualifying. So, but there you go. I mean, that to me, I mean, that's strides in the right direction. You've got them in Q3, at least in qualifying, they're stronger. They have a pace there. So I think Matteo Binotto's been pretty honest about they've got like a 5-year plan, and he keeps saying that. And he's like, we're not going to contend for championships now, but we will be in 5 years. He's said that since he got over there, but has kind of doubled down over the last several weeks. So I think they will be contending for midfield points, be pretty strong throughout the year,
Agreed.
which is
I think we'll see them trending up.
oh yeah. I think they've got a strong foundation over there. Jonathan Wheatley's, an extremely good
Yeah.
choice for principal.
Really
So
like him.
yeah,
Yeah, did you see that their Formula One Academy driver won the race this
Hmm.
weekend in China?
no, I didn't.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, Jonathan Wheatley, the celebration with her and Jonathan Wheatley was really cool to watch. So that one was a cool one. So good to see they got things cooking on the F1 Academy side over at Audi.
Nice, yeah.
yeah, and then
Well, do we want to recap some predictions?
yeah, go for it. Why
So,
you get
Josh, before we get into China predictions, we have to settle a debate from Australia. While you were gone, we did our Australia recap episode. And from the Australia predictions, Josh, you picked up 2 points because George won and no Red Bulls finished in the top. So you got 2 points. I got a point from George. I got a deduction for Max on podium because he DNF'd. And then I got a point for a Haas in the top 8. Paul predicted George in first, so he gets a point there. He had Max in third as well, so he gets a deduction there. So that would put him at 0. But he predicted his shocker prediction 5 DNFs. And technically, it was not 5 DNFs. So that is a technicality that we have to make the decision on. of whether or not we're going to give him that point for it being the first race and us having the new deduction systems, and then we're clear moving forward. You have to clarify DNF versus DNF. Or do we say, no, tough titties, you don't get the point and it's a deduction?
So when I read this conundrum right through the text thread, I originally was just like, you know what? It's the first race of the year. Probably just, it's a little, we'll wash that and we'll move on. However, now after seeing the second race, I fear that this is going to become a more common occurrence with DNSs, right? It's not something that we had really experienced in the past. So I don't blame us for not thinking about that, because it's not something that we see very often. The problem is now when you've got the second race of the year and 4 drivers DNS out of the gate, right? I fear that we have to count that because we're going to see it so much more frequently. So what do you think, Mayor, on that?
I think given that it was the first race, I'm okay with us giving him the point on that and it being correct. And that moving forward, we have to clarify in our shocker prediction, like DNF is a DNF. The DNSs are separate. So DNFs actually have to start the race and be a part of it. But I'm okay with giving Paul the first one from Australia.
All right, I'm fine with that.
Okay, so then Josh, after Australia, had 2 points. Paul, you get one because you had +1, -1, +1. And then I am also a 1 because I had +1, -1, +1.
The representative from the great state of Wisconsin would like to have the microphone to speak.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What?
Can you hold up your tattoo? Because we couldn't hear the word Wisconsin.
For the record, I thought Josh was going to side with you and not give me that point. So,
granted, I never chose a side. I never chose a side. I said we have to clarify the rules and move forward and decide what we're going to do. And I said Josh got to be the ultimate decider.
I'm glad I get the point.
So, Josh, you did not do your predictions.
I didn't want to just throw out random names because I had no idea what was going on. So
I hate that for you.
Hey, it's all right.
Paul and I did.
You don't think I'm going to make those up?
You can't make them up now. You didn't send them in the thread.
No, not make up the predictions. Make up the points.
He'll make up the points. His shockers
the
always
confidence on this one. Okay, so for China, Paul predicted Lewis winning, George in second, Charles in third, and at least one Aston Martin finishing with no issues. So he gets a +1 for George on the podium, but you predicted an Aston Martin would finish with no issues, and they both DNF'd. So Paul, that is a deduction. So you are net 0 on this one.
This game is dumb.
I predicted George winning, Kimi in second, Lewis in third. So I pick up a point for Lewis. And I predicted V-Carb double points. And so I don't get my double points because Arvid was in 12th. But Liam drove a great race. I think Liam did really, really well this weekend. I was pleasantly surprised. He seems like he is going to learn the rules. It seems like he had some good, clean battles out there. So it seems like he's learning. So I pick up 1 point. So that puts us at Josh 2, Paul 1, Meredith 2. So still neck and neck with the second race of the season in the books. Lots of racing left, but
tons. A little bit less.
Not as much.
A little bit less. Yeah, unfortunately, we got the news over, a couple days ago now that due to the ongoing conflict, well, actually, I want to phrase it the right way. Due to the ongoing situation in the Middle East, they have canceled both the Bahrain and Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, which sucks because I love Jeddah. I really could care less about Bahrain. I really actually hate that track. But
we've seen enough of Bahrain. We saw Bahrain for 2 weeks already.
It bores me. I've never really cared for that track. I'm going to be disappointed that we don't get Jeddah because I like Jeddah, honestly, and it's going to get cut from the calendar, and I like it. I like Jeddah.
But honestly, I'm staying optimistic on some of these tracks that have in the past sucked because of what we've seen in 2 races so far. So maybe Bahrain could have possibly given us something.
Are you saying that you're hopeful for Monaco, Paul? Is that what I'm hearing?
I hope Monaco is the best damn race it's been in 40 years.
What if Monaco's just freaking insanely lit? Like it's just the best race of the season.
Banger after banger after banger.
And I hope it.
You know what I would actually like to challenge us to do? I would like us to watch the Formula E race in Monaco, which is a couple of weeks before. I think it's about a month before this year. I would like us to watch the Formula E race in Monaco and then watch the Formula 1 race in Monaco and then be able to compare it. Since everybody's talking about, the new cars are just like Formula E. Let's watch it and let's see and let's compare. I feel like that'd be a fun baseline comparison.
So here's a big question. Are those 2 races completely canceled?
Yes. They had announced prior to the cancellation that if they were to cancel
they would have no
Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, that they would not be replacing those. So about 2 weeks prior, they had already said, if we cancel them, they will not be replaced on the calendar. So this weekend when it was like, I posted that the cancellation was official and people were like, oh, they're going to replace them. They're going to replace them with IMLA. And I was like, no, they're not, y'all. They literally already said before they ever canceled the races, they would not try to do that.
In the
It
statement,
just
they
seemed
said,
like they were the statement seemed a little strategic in their wording because I don't think I read the word canceled. It
No, they're
seemed like
canceled.
no, they canceled them.
it seemed like it was more of a we're going to stop it for now and then possibly add it later on in the
See,
year.
they were,
No,
or
they
they've
were
maybe
been
that's just how I interpreted it.
so they were very specific on the wording. Like if you notice how the WEC announcement for Qatar was postponed, they did specifically say postponed, whereas Formula One they did not. And they also said in the Formula One announcement, they said that they had several opportunities and they had looked at several things, but they couldn't make it work. So it's just out. Unfortunately, I hate that.
I think one thing that I appreciated about the Formula One announcement was about how they talked about, the commitment to locations, the vendors, their sponsors, their partners, and that, like they really hated that because each race, doesn't have the same sponsors, doesn't have all that. So like that's a lot of funding that goes into it. And so I really love that they honored those commitments and said that, this is just an extreme situation and that they really look forward to being able to honor all those partnerships and sponsorships and stuff like that in the future. I thought that that was a really good way of acknowledging, like, we've evaluated this from every angle we can logistically. We cannot make this work to do other locations and get all the, like, logistically, it just would have been a nightmare to try to change all that so soon. But yeah, I'm bummed. 2 less races sucks. But that's 2 less races that Josh has opportunities to get points, Paul.
I better step up my game here. Clean sweep for Japan is how I'm feeling it right now.
Yeah, maybe so. Oh, you're feeling the Japanese cherry blossom spirit within you,
I
Paul?
am. I'm going to start watching a lot of anime to get ready for it.
Oh my God, text Joe. He can give you some recommendations.
Done.
Yeah, I think Japan's gonna be a really good race.
Yeah,
Like a really
Japan
good
is on
race.
our target list for next year. So that's and who knows, given the ongoing situation, as Josh quoted, who knows if I'll be going to Abu Dhabi later this year. That's obviously the least of the worries given everything that's going on in the world.
Absolutely.
But I was really looking forward to Abu Dhabi. So hopefully I am still going. And if not, then guess what? Those funds hopefully will get sent right back to me. And then I will just direct those on to Japan for next year.
To be fair.
Hey, I got to get going here. So I will peace out. You two are going to finish out the episode. Great win by Kyle Kirkwood in Arlington. I was talking to Meredith before we hit record. I really wanted this event to suck because I can't stand Jerry Jones.
And it didn't.
And I can't stand the Cowboys. But everyone said what an amazing event it was. We had some great racing. There's not one driver that said anything bad about it other than Mick Schumacher, which wasn't a big fan of all the bouncing. But hey, that's what you get with a street course. Overall, great event. It was a lot of fun. Congrats to Cal Kirkwood. And I can't wait to go back and hear about all your experiences about all of this. Guys, thank you so much. I have to go to a doctor's appointment, so we'll
Paul, have a
talk
good doctor's
soon.
appointment.
All right,
Talk
take
to you
care,
later.
guys.
Yeah, I guess I'll just give my little IndyCar Grand Prix of Arlington recap. It was phenomenal. With it being the first year of a street race in Arlington, I was really nervous to see how it would go. I was expecting it to be very similar to the first year of F1 Las Vegas and to have issues on the track, issues with just like all kinds of logistical stuff, and none. Piece of feedback that I gave them in the follow-up survey is that on the maps that like the interactive map on your phone, everything they send out ahead of time, they were just labeled like general fan zones, but there were actually multiple fan zones. Like there was the Miller Lite fan zone, the Java House fan zone, and it just had fan zones on the map, so you didn't know which it was. So when I was trying to like meet up with other people that were at the race, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm at the fan zone," and I'm like, "I'm
Which
at the fan
one?
zone.
Yeah.
I don't see you." Yeah, and then you're like, "Oh, they're at this one," and I'm like, "I don't even know where that one is." So that was the only piece of feedback I gave them, but logistically, a breeze. To get in and out of it, it was so simple. There were multiple gates, multiple entry points. You could enter at any of the gates. So not just where you were seated or wherever you were assigned, you could enter at any of the gates. Everything was so walkable within there. It was walking around the AT&T Stadium, over to Globe Live, over by Texas Live. It was so well logistically done. Food vendors were everywhere. Every kind of like food trucks over by the concert area, pop-up tents with food everywhere, like couple of different food halls, little beverage carts, like the ones they have at COTA. Every 5 feet, there was like a little beverage cart with water, beers, seltzers, sodas, priced so affordably. Like
Nice.
it was, I mean, like you're like $10 a beer.
Easy.
Yeah, I'm on board, and it was nice having the option. Like, you know how we had like our ranch waters at Coda? They had like Topo Chico seltzers at IndyCar for Arlington. And I thought that was awesome because I didn't want to sit and drink beer all day. But the food was great. The prices were reasonable. The merch, if you are going to get merch, you have to go on Friday. I'm so glad we
So
did. When
everything
we got
sold
there
out.
on Friday, we went straight to the merch tent. When we got there on Sunday, they didn't even have the merch tent. They had a truck out there on Sunday because everything sold out. So if you're going to an IndyCar race, get your merch on Friday. In terms of pricing of merch, I was jonesing for a Will Power shirt. I was ready for a Will Power shirt. I had a bunch of McLaren stuff, but I wanted a Will Power Andretti shirt. And I was telling Joe on the drive up, I really want like a Will Power shirt that like matches his car wrap, which is like lime green and black. I walk in, it's the first thing I see right in front of me. Black t-shirt, Will Power car, Will Power on it. I was like, yes. T-shirts were about $40. Hoodies were like $70. So I didn't feel like that was asinine. And they even had like the jersey style t-shirts. And those I think were like 55 to 60, depending on men's or women's. But overall, I thought it was very affordable. Now, some of the stuff was like just general IndyCar merch you could get online. So if you're going to buy like normal IndyCar merch, just order that online. But if you're going to buy, like I bought one like from the race that was really cute. Yeah, but just really, really, really good selection, really different. Like they had like Travis Matthews merch,
Oh, nice.
which I thought was really cool. So they had like cotton t-shirts, jersey shirts, golf polos. So they had a really good selection. And maybe that was just because it's Jerry Jones
Right.
and it's Arlington and it's a huge golf state. But yeah, really, really great. The racing, like I can have an opinion on the racing, but I think the driver's opinion speaks more. The drivers loved it. I mean, like you can go on and just search IndyCar on TikTok right now, and I'm sure you would see all the videos of the drivers and teams talking about this is how street racing should be done. This was the best experience. Every single street race should aspire to be like this. And then I know Paul sent us that video of Will Buxton talking about it. Couldn't agree more. I personally liked the paddock experience in Arlington more than I did at Laguna Seca, which is my only other baseline. The paddock at Arlington was a lot more condensed. They had it more in rows and everything was a lot closer, which gave it a much more personal feel. I mean, like Zach Brown walked 3 inches from my face and I like panicked and froze up and was like, hi, Zach. Leah was like, have a good day. But like all the drivers were just walking right past us. They're stopping to take time to talk to everybody. Total ticket cost. So we sat in the Horseshoe Grandstands. Tickets were $245. Paddock passes were $100. Total for 3-day ticket plus paddock was $345. That's less
reasonable.
than the general admission ticket for Coda for F1. So in terms of affordability, it was fantastic. I thought there were a lot more lodging options. We rented an Airbnb that was an 8-minute walk. It was, me, Joe, Leah, and Aaron split it between 4 people. Our Airbnb was $800 and was a 4-bedroom house. 8-minute walk to the track. So we didn't have to buy a parking pass. We didn't have to Uber or anything. I absolutely will try to go again next year. I thought it was fantastic. I would probably sit in the exact same spot. I loved the Horseshoe because we had a giant screen right in front of us. We had all the food and vendor options. We had the concert right there, just really, really well done. The flyover came right over us.
Nice.
So I would give it 9 out of 10.
Man, that's really good.
My only feedback for improvement for the race would be to label the different fan zones on the map. That's literally my only complaint. I did see some people on TikTok talking about some ADA accessibility issues. Like there were a lot of stairs, not a lot of ramps. So I understand that that's absolutely a concern for people, but my experience was awesome. The racing was incredible. I mean, so much fun on that fast straight coming in down to the Horseshoe. It was just loved it. Loved the track, loved the layout. Big fan.
Nice. I'm glad you
Jerry
enjoyed
World
it.
did it right.
Cool.
Yeah. I was with Paul. I wanted to have a lot more growth oriented feedback because I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm not a huge Jerry Jones fan, but damn, him and Roger Penske knew what they were doing and they did it right. I think the caliber of event that they put on was absolutely incredible. And that is what every new street race in a motorsport series should be focused on. That's the bar for me now. So yeah, big fan.
Nice. Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything I saw, like the Will Buxton stuff, I saw a couple of clips where he was talking about just the quality of the event and the production and the logistics was just top notch. So I'm glad it went very well and it wasn't a disaster. I was like, we could have seen some street races become. So, hey, you know what? Good. I'm glad that they did it right.
Well, and even like looking at the horseshoe for the first time, I was like, oh, I could forecast some people absolutely spinning out coming around because it's like they come out of the straight, they make a turn, and then they come into the horseshoe. It's kind of like turn 15 at Coda in my mind. Like there's a lot of opportunity to really screw that up. And I thought maybe we're going to have some big crashes here. And they were just handling it very, very well. I mean, the one Mick Schumacher spin out was really the only like massive thing. Like everything else was, no offense, driver error. So, I thought it was great. But we've got IMSA back this weekend. Are you
I'm
excited?
stoked.
Sebring?
Very excited for it because I like Sebring. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for more endurance racing because we lost the opportunity for WEC with Qatar, so we've kind of been jonesing a little bit for it. 12 hours, so a little shorter than
Yeah.
Daytona, but still going to be very exciting. I'm glad that they definitely put out a lot of stuff on their testing and their race week stuff. So there'll be plenty of content out there
No doubt.
to get caught up before the race. So pretty excited.
Yeah. Well, I will definitely be watching some IMSA this weekend. My parents are coming in town, but my stepdad, he loves racing too. And my mom was like texting me, she was like, where are you? I'm trying to find you on the TV at the IndyCar race because my stepdad loves IndyCar too. So we'll definitely be watching some racing this weekend, but no F1 this weekend, no IndyCar this weekend. So I'm all in on IMSA, and I'm sure we'll watch NASCAR on Sunday, but that's all we got in store for us.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad that we'll get something to talk about next weekend or next week when
No
we
doubt.
do our Japan stuff and we can discuss IMSA and see what else we can talk about.
That's right. Well, I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. Enjoy being back home and recharge and getting back to work. And I can't wait to hear all about your Europe adventures. And we'll chat all things IMSA next week.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, I'm excited. It was good to be back. I'm glad that I got to chat with you guys a little bit and hear what you guys thought about the first opening couple races of the Formula One. So we'll get back next week and talk about Japan and IMSA, and we'll see what else we can figure out. So hope everybody has a great week.
I'm sure there will be more.
I'm sure
something
there's
always
always
pops up.
something. So hope everybody has a great week. We'll talk to you all next week. See you.
All right. Bye, everybody.